Hi, my name is Thesia Agatha, and today I would like to explain to you about my analysis and also the result of the self-discovery test, and it is going to be explained further using the framework that has been developed by Professor Casey Chen, and it is the action learning framework. And without further ado, let us get straight into the framework itself. So here, as you can see in the screen, is the action learning equation or the action learning framework. So this action learning equation will answer the what, why, how, who, when, where, and how much. What will be explained further using the holistic thinking, why using the critical thinking, how, who, when using the system thinking, where using the lesson learned, and how much using the lateral thinking. So the first question here is about what, and what here is going to be answered using the holistic thinking. The question for what is, what do I know about myself? So basically, this section is going to answer about the knowledge that I know about myself using the test that I have taken before, and then it is divided into three self-assessment types, which are the individual capacity, team capacity, and organizational capacity. For individual capacity, there are three tests that I have taken, which are the Learning Styles Test, Entrepreneurship GET Test, Big 5 Personality Test. While for team capacity, I have taken the Belbin's 9 team roles, and for the organizational capacity, I have taken the Leadership Self-Assessment Test. Now let's start with the first test. The first test here is the Learning Styles Test. As you can see from the screen that I score very high in reflector, theorist, pragmatist, and activist. Therefore, it can be concluded that actually I am a person who learn by observing and thinking about what happened. Therefore, I prefer to collect data as much as possible rather than actually jumping into a very quick conclusion. I love collecting a number of different perspectives while watching from the sideline. And as a theorist, I also enjoy learning by theory behind every action. So I learn best using models, concepts, and facts. Therefore, these two being combined together means that I love to observe people, I observe what happened, and then I put the theory that I have learned into the actions that I have observed and get the full grasp of the situation before jumping to a conclusion. And as we can see here that I score very low in activist. So I'm not actually a person who learns by doing, because an activist is someone who learns by doing. Therefore, in my case, I learn least by doing, and I am not as open to new experiences of learning as I am to new theories and point of views. So in the screen here, you can see that this is the second test, and it is about the entrepreneur GET test. Scoring high in needs of achievement means that I am highly motivated and I am usually very busy, driven, dynamic, and highly committed to getting things done. And people with this kind of tendency actually has the desire to lead, shape, and complete project. However, it is being countered by the fact that actually I scored very low in my need of autonomy. And need of autonomy here actually means that someone is very keen to lead a group or a project, which is not my case. And the next one is that I score high in drive and determination. It means that I have a very high internal locus of control. People who have high internal locus of control believe that they have control over their own destiny and luck. Therefore, they will consistently and confidently seek to exert control but over their own lives instead of other people. So the third test is the Big 5 Personality Test. And from the screen, you can see that I score very high in extroversion, which means that I am an extrovert person with 72.5% likeliness. Furthermore, in this test, I also scored very high in neuroticism, and this dimension is frequently referred as emotional stability according to some researchers. Therefore, when I score very high in this dimension, it means that I am very frequently depressed, angry, and insecure. So here you can see in the screen that we have gone to the next tier, which is the team capacity test. And for the team capacity test, we are going to assess myself using the Belbin's 9 team roles test. So according to Belbin, a group needs different personalities to be effective. And in this test, I score very high in being a specialist, a coordinator, and an implementer. Being a specialist means that I bring in-depth knowledge of a key area to the team, and people who are a specialist tend to be single-minded, self-starting, and dedicated. And these people will be able to provide a specialist knowledge and skills. Furthermore, I have the tendency to be a coordinator in a group. This means that I am able to focus on the team's objective while drawing out members and delegating work appropriately. Thirdly, I also score very high to being an implementer, and an implementer means that I am able to plan a workable strategy and carry it out as efficiently as possible. Moving on, now we are on the last tier, which is organizational capacity, and this one will be assessed using the leadership self-assessment test. And this test explains about how a person leads in a community or in an organization. And similar to the previous result, actually in this test, I score very high in negotiating, communicating, and building relationship. It means that I really enjoy and have my focus mainly on people, and similar also to the previous result, I scored lowest in leading change. Therefore, it is actually not advisable for people like me to lead an organization or a community. Now going back to the action learning equation, we are moving on to the next question, which is why. Why here will answer the question using 5 whys framework, and the first why is why do I need to know about my personality? And actually I think that it is necessary to understand about my personality because it is the basis for me to reflect on my strengths and weaknesses. When we know about our personality, we can easily point out which traits are good to keep and which are open for improvements. And why do I need to understand about my strength and weakness? So I think that in order for me to enhance my strength and weaknesses, it is crucial to first understand about my traits. Understanding my traits is not only knowing about what traits I have, but actually I should be fully aware of my own tendency in daily lives, and my decisions in daily life are actually affected by those personalities. The third why is why do I need to enhance my strengths and minimize my weaknesses? And the answer to this is that because it is paramount to enhance my strength and minimize my weakness, because I aim to reach a distinct competence, and before I can reach my distinct competence, it is crucial for me to understand about what is my core competence first. And knowing and having full understanding of my strengths and weaknesses can help me to understand about my core competence. So the next one is why core competence is important. Core competence is very important for me to strategize accordingly. So after understanding about my core competence, it is easier for me to strategize by enhancing my strength, minimizing my weakness, and then being able to reach my distinct competence. And lastly, why is strategizing important? So strategizing is important because then I can be able to reach my end goal, and my end goal here is to reach a distinct competence itself. Again, we go back to the action learning equation, and next we are going to answer the question of who, when, and how using system thinkings. So to start, I am going to ask the question of who, which is who do I want to be, and also who are my support systems. So first of all, about who do I want to be is that in the future, ideally, I want to be a managing director, and I use the 3 circles to explain further. because to improve continuously and for me to be able to be a good managing director, I have to improve all kind of skills, including my management skill, technopreneurship skill, and leadership skill. And then I can integrate, innovate, and implement, which will then lead me to continuously improving myself. Well, for who are my support systems, actually here will also be explained using the 3 circles. Here, my support systems are the individual, organizations, and stakeholders. And the individual here includes myself, and organizations are the university that I am currently in, for example, Petra, and the university that I am planning to enroll to for my master degree, and the stakeholder includes my friend, families, lecturers, and professors who have been a part of my journey. So now I'm going to explain about when, and when here will be the schedule for my life in the next 1, 3, 5, and 10 years. So for the next 1 year, I will graduate from IBM with good GPA, and then I will continue my study in the UK, majoring in consumer behaviors. While for the next 3 years, I'm planning to pursue my career in multinational companies that are in line with my parents' business. And currently, my parents' business is in agricultural sector. And in 5 years, I will start to take over my parents' business because this is according to my dad's succession plan. And in 10 years, I will have taken over my parents' business, being the managing director. So now I'm going to explain about how, and how here will ask the question about how will I achieve it. How will I achieve the schedule that I have made before? And I will use IPO model to explain about how, and the input here will be about who I am, and the output is what do I want to be. So after understanding about the output first and understanding about my input, I can then starting to strategize, which is what should I do or what will I do. It will then be controlled using the KPIs, and my KPIs are my salaries from the multinational companies. And when I manage to take over the company that my dad is currently running, then my KPIs will be the revenue or how much expansion can I make for the company itself. Next, we go back to the action learning equation, and we are now in where, and we will answer where with the question where can it go wrong or the lesson learned. And where can it go wrong actually can be explained using this diagram that you see in the screen. And this diagram means that in every process there will be something wrong. Therefore, contingency plan is needed for every step that I take from being in the core competence into reaching distinct competence. The steps that I will take will be gaining insights, getting motivations, gaining new knowledge and skills, having real-world application until I can reach an accountability. And now we have reached the last part, which is how much. And how much here basically explains about how much more can I improve. And in order for me to improve, there are lots of powers that can be seen here in the screen that I need to have, starting from stamina power, communicative power, expert power, adaptive power, response power, and execution power. All of those powers are needed also being analyzed using the 6 hats, which is the red, the yellow, the white, green, black, and blue hats. And all of those powers are needed for me to improve myself into reaching my end goal. So those are my analysis and the results of the self-discovery test that I have taken. And to conclude, these are the top 4 attributes for result-driven leadership that I have chosen according to my traits. Those attributes are driven, effective, disciplined, and adaptive. And I believe by having all of these 4 attributes, I can be able to become a better leader or a better individual in a group. So that's all for this presentation for my MNE and G individual assignment for self-discovery project. And thank you so much for listening, and see you some other time.